As the sun dipped beneath the skyline of Madrid and rose once more over the bustling heart of Rio de Janeiro, Carlo Ancelotti stepped into a moment he's seen many times before. The glare of the media, the pressure of a nation's expectations, and the weight of a new chapter. But this time, it wasn't just about trophies or tactics, or even about the future of the Seleção. As he sat at that podium in Brazil, a different name started stealing the spotlight. A name that suddenly carried weight far beyond the Spanish. A capital or the Maracanã. That name, Davide Ancelotti. While the world's eyes focused on Carlo's plans for Brazil, whispers about his son were quickly turning into conversations, and not just anywhere. In Glasgow, in the pubs and on the terraces among the faithful who wear blue with pride, Davide Ancelotti's name has become part of the daily football vocabulary. And it's not hard to see why. Rangers, one of the most storied and passionate clubs in world football, have just watched another managerial cycle come to an end. Philippe Clement, whose tenure ended in frustration, left behind more questions than answers. And with that void, the search for a new leader took an unexpected twist. Few would have predicted it. The son of one of football's greatest minds suddenly being linked to the intense, fiery world of Scottish football. But this isn't some fairy tale based on a famous surname. David has quietly carved out a reputation of his own serving as an assistant at some of Europe's biggest clubs. Real. Madrid, Bayern Munich, Napoli, Everton. Absorbing elite-level football and adding his own ideas to the mix. Still in his mid-30s, he's viewed by many as a coach on the brink, someone not just following in his father's footsteps, but ready to take a bold stride of his own. And what a place to do it. Ibrox. The blue cathedral of Glasgow, where history breathes through the brickwork and expectation hangs heavy in the air. For weeks, speculation has been building like a storm off the coast. Would David stay in Madrid comfortably learning under Carlo for a few more seasons? Would he join his father in Brazil, becoming part of yet another national team project? Or, and this is where it gets really intriguing, would he break away completely, plant his own flag, and take charge of a club desperate for new energy, new ideas, and a return to dominance? Then came the twist. In the middle of all the predictable questions about Brazil's chances in the next World Cup, a reporter took a sharp turn and asked Carlo about his son. And in a rare moment of openness, the elder Ancelotti gave an answer that set the rumor mill ablaze. He didn't dodge. He didn't downplay. He confirmed what many were starting to suspect. David is in talks with a European club, and it didn't feel right, Carlo said, to bring him into the Brazilian setup when his future was still being decided. If David finds the right club, his father said he'll go with his blessing. And if not, there would always be a place for him on the Brazilian bench. That one statement changed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't just fantasy or fan chatter. It was real. The Rangers board are said to be seriously considering him, weighing up the fresh perspective and tactical sharpness he could bring to the role. And for fans, the idea of a coach who's been immersed in top-tier football since his early 20s, who's worked alongside Champions League winners and seen how the best prepared train and perform, that's more than a little exciting. Let's not forget Rangers are at a crossroads. The last few seasons have been a roller coaster. Title races lost European hopes, dashed managerial appointments that promised much but delivered little. The club needs a spark, someone who can unify the squad, reconnect with the fans, and challenge Celtic's domestic grip. And maybe, just maybe, Davide Ancelotti is the kind of appointment that could shake things up in the best way possible. Of course there are risks. He's never been a head coach before. He'd be stepping into one of the most pressurized environments in European football. The Scottish media, the old firm rivalry, the demand for results from day one. It's not for the faint-hearted, but the flip side, he wouldn't be walking in blind. This is someone who's lived the game at its most intense, who's worked under pressure with elite players and demanding fan bases, and who crucially wants to prove himself on his own terms. Sources close to the situation say David is intrigued by the opportunity. He sees Rangers not just as a stepping stone, but as a genuine challenge, a club with massive history, an incredible fan base, and the potential to do something special again. It's not about chasing easy wins or coasting on reputation. It's about building, transforming, and leaving a mark. And if he does take the job, he won't be short of motivation. Carlo's words have only added fuel to the fire by openly acknowledging His son's talks with a European club and removing him from the Brazil staff discussions, he's effectively cleared the path. He's given David the freedom to make his own decision, one not shadowed by nepotism or family loyalty. It's a move that says you're ready, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. Meanwhile, as all this managerial intrigue unfolds, there's plenty more happening at Ibrox. 9 first-team players are returning from loan spells this summer, adding depth and potential to the squad. Ben Davies, after a full season with Birmingham, City that ended in promotion, is set to rejoin the group for pre-season. Kieran Dowell, who chipped in with 5 goals and 5 assists during his time away, is also reporting back. Then there's Robbie Fraser, who played a crucial 90 minutes in Livingston's playoff win to secure a return to the Premiership. The young left-back under contract until 2 mil Evante says will be eager to prove he belongs in the first. Team setup. On the fringe of the squad, names like Matondo and Jose Cifuentes also returned their contracts, running into 2026 and 2027 respectively. Matondo's loan spell in Germany was underwhelming, while Cifuentes managed a goal in Vante Tre's appearances for Aris Thessaloniki. Both have points to prove. The homegrown trio of Cole McKinnon, Adam Devine and Kieran Wright spent the season out on loan in the Championship and will be assessing their futures as their contracts run down. And finally, Leon King, who made 8 appearances for Queens. Park is also back in the fold. The squad is in flux, but that's nothing new for Rangers. What matters now is the direction, and that's where the managerial decision becomes so vital. Bringing in Davide Ancelotti would be bold, no question. It would be a statement that Rangers are thinking beyond the usual shortlist, beyond the recycled names and safe bets. It would be a move that says the club wants to be at the forefront of modern football, blending tradition with innovation. Ancelotti Jr.'s reputation as a detailed, forward-thinking coach isn't just based on surname. Those who've worked with him speak of his tactical acumen, his ability to connect with players, and his obsession with preparation. He's not one for shouting from the sidelines. He leads with clarity and conviction. He's been in dressing rooms with serial winners, seeing what it takes to lift the biggest trophies, and now he's looking for his own stage. While Davide Ancelotti's potential move to Rangers continues to dominate the headlines, the wider picture at Ibrox is one of urgency and transition. There's a sense that the club has reached a tipping point, one where the next managerial appointment could define not just the season, but the direction of the next decade. This is no longer just about reacting to Celtic's dominance. It's about reclaiming identity, building something lasting, and sending a message to the rest of Scotland and Europe that Rangers mean business again. In that context, the idea of bringing in someone like David makes even more sense. Not because he's a safe bet, far from it, but because he represents a shift from the tried and tested towards something more modern, more progressive, more in tune with the way top clubs operate in 2025. The Rangers board know they need to take a risk, and if they're going to gamble, it might as well be on a young mind who spent the last decade learning from the very best. And while David remains the most intriguing name in the frame, he's not the only one being discussed. The managerial merry-go-round has thrown up plenty of possibilities, but what makes this story even more fascinating is how personal it's become for the fans. Rangers supporters have always had a deep emotional connection to the identity of the club, to who represents them, how the team plays, how the manager speaks and leads. David, for all his inexperience as a number one, has something that appeals to the soul of Ibrox ambition, the hunger to prove himself. The desire to stand on his own away from his father's immense shadow and take on one of football's most demanding jobs. That hunger was echoed in Carlo's recent comments. Not just in his blessing, but in the way he described his son. There was pride, yes, but also a clear belief that David is ready. And for all the tactical talk, that belief might be the most important ingredient of all. In a place like Glasgow, where passion can be overwhelming and pressure unrelenting, it's that inner conviction that separates those who sink from those who rise. Elsewhere in the Rangers universe, the echoes of past what-ifs continue to ripple. Neil Warnock, the outspoken English manager with a career that spanned generations, recently opened up about his long-standing admiration for Rangers. He never hid it. Not even when he was managing Aberdeen. His first match in charge of the Dons coincidentally came against Rangers, who edged out a 2-1 win that night. Looking back, Warnock revealed he always dreamed of taking charge at Ibrox, But according to him, there was always someone pulling strings behind the scenes pushing for other names. It never happened. And there's still disappointment in his voice when he talks about it. Warnock might be a polarizing figure, but there's something undeniably powerful about a veteran of the game admitting how special the Rangers' job is. He even turned up at the last Old Firm derby, the 1-0 draw earlier this month, soaking in the atmosphere and still clearly feeling that emotional pull. When he talks about parking his car at Ibrox and feeling something different, something electric, you understand why managing Rangers is still viewed as one of football's great challenges. Interestingly, he had little love for Clement, describing the former boss as arrogant and dismissive. That kind of personality clash might seem like football politics, but in truth it highlights something deeper. Our Rangers managers aren't just judged by what they win. They're judged by how they carry themselves, how they connect with the culture, the history, and the fans. And that's why someone like Davide Ancelotti, despite his quiet demeanor, could be the right fit. He's not brash, he's not looking for attention, but he's serious. And that more than anything is what the club needs. Amid all this another name, emerged with emotion and honesty, Cyril Desire is now a free agent, opened up about his time at the club and what the future might hold. For the first time in his career, he's without a contract, and yet there's no bitterness in his voice. Quite the opposite. He speaks of Rangers with pride, saying it was here that he turned his career around. He's received offers, taken calls, but nothing is decided yet. What matters most to him, he says, is making the right choice. One that keeps him progressing personally and professionally. He's only 26 with at least 10 more years of football in him by his count, and he wants his next club to inspire him. That's the kind of honesty you don't always hear in modern football. Players come and go and most leave with generic statements, but Desire's words feel real. A reminder that for many who come through Ibrox, the club leaves a lasting mark. Whether he stays or goes, his connection to Rangers seems genuine. And that kind of bond is exactly what the new manager, whoever it ends up being, needs to rebuild. The challenge ahead is massive. The gap to Celtic, both on the pitch and off it, is still very real. The European ambitions remain ambitious. The squad is still in flux, and the fans, though loyal as ever, are growing impatient. They want progress. They want vision. They want a leader who gets what Rangers is about. The history, the pressure, the pride. Davide Ancelotti might just be that leader. He might not tick every box. But sometimes the most transformative decisions come from betting on potential, on hunger, on something that feels right, even if it isn't obvious. And right now, under the floodlights of Ibrox, is the echoes of glory and the hunger for more. Fill the air, the stage may be set for a new chapter, one not written by the Father, but by the Son. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Glasgow's footballing circles were set alight this week after a sensational revelation. Faye James BISGROVE, the high-profile executive WOW links to Rangers, sent shockwaves across the Scottish game. Rumors have been swirling round the city after whispers emerged that BISGROVE, kent for his pivotal role in the club's commercial growth, allegedly made some less than flattering remarks about the very team he's so closely associated with. Why? While nobody has come forward with a direct recording or a verifiable transcript. Several insiders claim that during a private function, BISGROVE let slip his frustrations about the club's current trajectory, supposedly criticizing both on-field performances and decisions made behind the scenes. Ain source even hinted that he questioned the long-term ambitions or the Rangers hierarchy, a statement that, if true, will be difficult for fans to swallow. Naturally, the Rangers faithful are in uproar at even the mere suggestion of such disloyalty. Way many demanding clarification. The Ibrox side, after a turbulent season marked by inconsistency, a managerial upheaval, is already under intense scrutiny, and this latest episode only adds fuel to the fire. As always in Glasgow, where football loyalties are as much a boot identity as they are a boot sport, even the slightest hint of internal dissent is magnified. Some pundits argue that this could simply be a case of comments taken out of context, or even fabricated entirely by those looking to unsettle the club further. Others, however, suggest it reflects deeper frustrations simmering within the corridors of power at Ibrox, frustrations that could yet lead to significant changes come. The summer. Neither BISGROVE nor Rangers have issued any formal statement, leaving the speculation to grow unchecked. Way pre-season preparations just around the corner, the timing of these rumors couldn't be worse for a team desperate to reclaim domestic dominance or make a statement in Europe. For now, it's a waiting game in Govan. But as anyone familiar, why Scottish fitbacans? Where there's smoke, there's often fire. Whether this is merely idle gossip or the first sign of cracks with the Rangers fortress remains to be seen. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.